Hi, friends, and welcome to the Out of OCD podcast, your source for understanding and managing obsessive compulsive disorder. This podcast explores the realities of OCD, personal stories, treatment approaches, and tips for breaking free from those often debilitating intrusive thoughts and compulsive behaviors. I'm your host, Dr. Toy Hirschman, not a therapist, but someone who has also lived with severe OCD and co-occurring disorders. Please join me for real stories, pro tips, and a sometimes humorous look at busting through OCD. Let's get started kicking OCD out of our lives for good. Hello, my friend with OCD. I want to ask you something and see if it applies to you. Do you have all or nothing thinking? So all or nothing thinking or thinking in extremes is super prevalent in OCD. I still experience this type of thinking even without OCD looming over my head as strongly as it used to be. This kind of thinking is a very sneaky, sinister little brain distortion. Okay, so let me give you for an example. For instance, even without compulsions, if I, let's say, start a new workout. So I decide to run, I'm going running, I'm going to be a runner, and I'm not, it doesn't ever work out. But I get down on myself because I'm like, I can't just run casually a couple miles a day. If I'm going to run, I have to enter a race. I have to run a marathon. And then I start to feel terrible about myself when I should feel good about the fact that I just went running, right? Same thing with yoga. Well, I mean, I'm not a real yogi because I just am trying this out and I'm not really great at it. And if I don't enter a competition, you get the idea. You know, anytime I've ever been in a job, I would feel terrible about myself because, well, I should be in charge or I should be the boss by now, and I'm not. And it just is a terrible way to think. And that's without like an OCD thought. So when you're battling OCD, it's even worse because this all or nothing thinking applies to everything and always results in you beating yourself up, even if you're not realizing it. And it's just causing just a tremendous amount of internal blame and shame. So why do we do this? Well, you know, the answer for OCD is why? Because it's OCD. There are a couple reasons, though. First, us OCDers love to have certainty. Really, OCD is just this unnatural level of not being able to tolerate uncertainty. And then also trying in very peculiar ways, at least in my case, to make things certain with our minds. Can you imagine if that is something you could actually do? I mean, we would be superheroes, but you can't actually do that. So all you're doing is making yourself miserable. This leads us to view situations as completely safe or completely dangerous with no middle ground. And y'all know what I'm talking about here. All or nothing thinking is the type of thinking that lets us get stuck in that doom scroll loop in our brains. You know what I'm talking about? Where you have to get your compulsion just right to fix your thought or to fix it. Okay, for me, this would look like a never-ending series of chanting and walking up and down the stairs to prevent someone from dying, for instance. And, you know, I would think, dude, did I get this thought right this time? Oh my gosh, wait, did I say that prayer chant thing and kind of shake my head, thereby negating the thought? Or, oh, okay, did I actually nod my head and thereby making it was just over and over and over and over again until it was right, and it was never right. And I could be stuck, y'all. I could be stuck going up and down the steps or getting in and out of my shower for an hour. I was in my bathroom one time just getting in and out of the shower and trying to get the thoughts right for 2 hours because I just thought, oh, I did it wrong. It was absolutely horrible. Okay, this all or nothing thinking, guys, it can cause so much harm, especially as you're recovering from OCD. So here's another deliciously evil thing that OCD does. So I have this all or nothing thinking with my compulsions and in real life. And when I was first beginning treatment, I had this idea like, well, if I'm just going to stop, Okay, I get it. I understand what OCD is now. I was in treatment for a little bit. Like, I understand what it is. I understand that these compulsions are crazy and they don't mean anything. Just stop. So I tackle every day, like, I'm just gonna get out of bed today the first time and I'm gonna go for it and just not do any compulsions. And that does not work. And if any of you guys are out there and you're feeling like that and you are trying to tackle OCD that way, it doesn't work. It's kind of like you don't expect to just go to the gym and then you walk out of the gym the first day and you have muscles. You understand that it takes a little bit over time and you just make little gains and improvements all the time. You have to let go of this type of thinking when you're trying to get better from OCD. What you need to make sure that you do is try to improve just a little bit each day. Just a tiny little improvement over the previous day is all that you need to do. If you resist one compulsion today, resist two tomorrow, and so on and so forth. And count it as a win. I know that that's hard to do. Trust me, I know. But if you count those little wins, over time, they build up. So, think about this. You don't want to mess with your treatment. You need to accept that you're doing the best you can. And so if you are seeing a therapist or coach and you find yourself in this pattern, please talk to them about this and work with them to come up with a concrete plan to tackle your OCD a little bit at a time. Your therapist might already be doing this, but if not, you need to get on board with this. It's incremental. It's incremental improvements every single day. A great way to do this is to use a tracker. You have, a notes app on your phone maybe. Just get a little flip book. I had like a little cute little flip book thing that came with a pen attached that I found at Walmart for like $3, and it was so nice to just be able to track things. But there's also apps out there. There are tons of tracker apps. You could, make one fit or work with your OCD. Actually, even one of my favorite people in the OCD space, Allie Grayman, has a great app that she created. So you could even use her app as well. Also check her out if you haven't already. She's great. If you're like me, you have this OCD brain that bullies you and makes you feel horrible about yourself. You may even be super successful in real life, but your OCD is constantly telling you otherwise. That's part of that all or nothing thinking, y'all. Trust me. This thinking pattern will only make your recovery worse and make you feel worse. So instead, try to reframe your treatment and celebrate your little wins every single day. If you have a setback one day, it's okay. Don't dwell on it. You can work on it again the next day. Think about it like this. If you got 1% better each day, you would be in really good shape in a few months, right? You would be in really good shape. And even if you stretch it out a little bit more and you get 0.5% better, doesn't that sound great? Like you all you have to do is 1%, 0.5%, 0.25%, just anything better than the last time, and you are on your way. So it is really possible to get out of OCD and live a life of your values and not a life that is slave to this OCD monster. So thank you for listening. I love you all. Bye.